calculator in front of them. The
Yeah.
window might be a little messed up because the last hour just did these, but I want you to switch your window to a standard window right now. These first two questions are total review, but since we haven't had the graphing calculators in a week since the middle school had them, and tomorrow is your partner test. I want to make sure you can do these first two problems on your own. See if you remember what to do, because these are worth a lot of points on your test tomorrow. So, go for number 21. Type it in and see if you know what all these things are. Max, min, interval increasing, interval decreasing, inflection point, concave up, concave down, and any constants. And I will do it with you. Again, if your window is messed up, because the story problems are crazy, might be messed up, change it to a standard window. Okay, did you get this picture? All right, did you get the max and the min? How do you find the max and the min? Let's do the minimum first. Tell me what to type on my calculator. Second, calc, yes.
How is there a max and min when they both go?
It's called a local maximum and a local minimum. It's an excellent question. The graph, it is. It's called a local. So in this region, there is some action going on. Obviously, this is going to infinity. So that, you're saying that that's your max, okay? But in this region, what's happening is your graph's going down. Locally, in this region, what's the lowest point? So we're just reading this graph around here. We understand that this thing's going up and going down, okay? So we don't want that. We want this local area, the max and the min. That would be your local minimum, and that would be your local maximum. And we read the graph left to right. So, how do you find the minimum? What do you type, if you remember? Second, calc, min, and then give me some bounds. I'm going to do -2, enter, 0, enter. And I get -1.15. We're going to round to the nearest hundredth. Did you get -1.15? Okay. I would suggest for these two problems, you draw the graph. That might help you. So sketch a little picture. And it looks like this. Like that. So this minimum value is -1.15. What is this local maximum? What'd you get? So how do you get this number? You get second calc max. Did you get 1.15?
Yeah.
Good job. Okay, so now tell me the interval. We're going to read this graph. In what interval is this graph increasing? From what to what? It goes, you read left to right. So if you're, what are you doing in this region? You're going down. So if you want to write, the decreasing would be -infinity to what? What's this x value that we just found? Okay, what else? Where else is it decreasing? 1.15 to positive infinity, because it's going down. Where is the interval increasing? -1.15 to 1.15. Okay, I need the inflection point. How do you get the inflection point? What do you do with these two? Yes, average. Add these up, divide by 2. So I need, my picture's not drawn very nicely, but where is the x value in the middle of negative 1.15 and 1.15? That's an easy one, it's 0. So what happens is that x value changes the concavity of this picture. So from negative infinity to 0, our graph is concave up. And it's concave down, it means it looks like that. It's concave up is that way, like up. So it's from 0 to infinity, it's concave down. Were there any constants? Did you see any straight across? There's none. Okay, I want you to try the next one. Did everyone get this answer?
What was the constant?
There are none. It's not straight across at all. This graph is very curvy, like a roller coaster. Next one. You're going to type in 2x cubed minus 6x plus 5. 2x cubed minus 6x plus 5. And hit graph.
Bless
Okay, did you get this picture? Everyone get that picture? How do you find the local maximum value? Second, calc, max, tell me what you get. -1, good job, -1. -1. So this one looks like this. Right here, this is -1. What's the minimum? Second, calc, min, I got 1. You get did you get 0.999? Okay, good. Round to the nearest 100, which is a 1. So, what are you gonna write for interval increasing? Where is it increasing? Yes.
Well, I have a question on the maximum.
Mhm.
What did you plug in to get the negative?
Okay, let's do it. So, here's your picture. You want this x, here's your maximum. You wanna know what that number is. It's somewhere in between here. So I hit second, calc, max. I'm gonna type in, I'm gonna do -2 to 0. -2, enter. I want enough of a region to give me a bound. So I know it's between these two numbers right here. And there it is, that's your maximum. It's -0.999. You don't want the y value, you just want the x, because we're reading the graph on the x-axis. Same with the minimum. Okay, so can you tell me the interval where it's increasing? You got it. And where is it decreasing? Yep, in all parentheses for this section. What's the inflection point? You add these two up and divide by 2. Now, tomorrow on your partner test, let's say you mess these two up. Max and min. Max and mins are right or wrong. They're right or wrong. There's no, you did it right or you did it wrong. But the rest of this test is subjective to what you got here. So if you did these two, if you got these incorrect, I want you to sketch a little picture for me and label everything so that way, if you happen to get these two wrong and I can follow your work, I can give you full credit on the rest of this as long as I understand that you made a little mistake on your max and min. Because if these two are wrong, you know this is going to be wrong, this is going to be wrong. Obviously your inflection point's going to be wrong because when you add two wrong answers and divide by 2, it's going to be another wrong answer, which means your concave up and concave down will be wrong also. The whole thing will be wrong based on these two wrong answers. So what I will do is I will write WBOK on your test. It's wrong. I want you to understand that it's wrong, but okay, you took your wrong answer and carried it through correctly. So on this question, it might be worth 10 points. You might get 9 out of 10, even though the whole question's wrong. And you'll be happy that I do it that way, but I can only do it if I can understand what you did. Okay? So concave up is gonna be from 0 to infinity. And you always use this inflection point with concave up. And then concave down from negative infinity to 0. Now please make sure, this drives me absolutely nuts, when I see answers like this. When I see, like for example, interval decreasing, some of you do this. What's wrong with this answer? What is wrong with 1 comma negative 1? On a number line, 1 does not, you don't do that, right? Same with, if you wrote infinity to 0, what's wrong with that answer? That's backwards. It goes 0, then infinity. So you want these numbers, check your parentheses, and they should be correctly ordered. Are there any constants? No. Write something there. If you leave it blank, kind of like when you fill out an application and it says, what's your wife's name or your husband's name, spouse's name? Do you leave it, you write NA, not applicable. If you leave this blank, I don't know if you think that you don't know the answer, but you have to write something. Write none, NA, not possible, something. You have to write me something. If you leave it blank, I think that you didn't know how to do it and you just skipped it. Okay, so write some indication if there is no. Now, will there be a constant if you have one like we did? Let me show you an example of a constant. I know we did 3.2. I'm gonna find it. It was the one with the absolute value. I'm not finding them right now, but I will. I'll find one for you. It has the absolute value and it's straight across. Okay, we're gonna do these 3-story problems together. It says, number 29, it goes A and B like that. A rectangle has a perimeter of 100 inches. So I want you to draw a rectangle. And it says one side has length X. We don't know the other side, so we're gonna call it Y. But it has a perimeter of 100. So can you write an equation for this? The perimeter is 100. What does perimeter mean? Add the sides outside. Yep.
2y plus 2x.
So the perimeter is 100. 2x plus 2y. Does everybody agree with that? Okay, now, it says express the area of this as a function of x. How would you write the formula for area? Area is equal to what? xy. So what they want you to do is they want you to take this equation, solve it for y, and substitute that into this and rewrite a new equation in the form of area. So we want to express the area as a function of the perimeter. So can you solve this for y? What do you get? How would you get y by itself? Subtract 2x. And then do what? Divide by 2. So y is equal to 50 minus x. Does everybody agree with that? Y is equal to 50 minus x. So now we're going to express the area of this rectangle as a function of x. We're going to plug that in here for y. So area is equal to x times 50 minus x. This is the answer to question A. We are expressing this area as a function of x. Got it?
Mm.
So you solve for perimeter, solve for y, and then write the equation for area and plug one into the other. Now, read question B. It says use this function, this formula, in part A to find the dimensions of this rectangle with the perimeter of 100 inches. So in other words, I want the largest possible area. If you type this into your calculator, and I'm going to tell you, use a window of your x value, I want you to use between 50 and 0 for your range. And your y value, you're going to do 1,000. Now, why am I ignoring negative answers? Because you can't have dimensions of a rectangle with a negative dimension. So on your calculator, I want you to type in this equation into the y equals, and you don't have to simplify it. Just do 50 minus x. And change your window like I said. You're gonna do, I said 50, and I would go by minimum 0, 0. And if you wanna do something different, you can, but you just want something big enough so that you can see this picture. So what you have here, and I have a 50 by this from here to here is 50. And I counted by tens. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then this I did 1,000 and I went by tens. Okay? I'm showing you what all the possible dimensions of this rectangle would be, of the area. So I could plug in there's infinite number of dimensions, bless you. There's infinite number of dimensions. But if I want the largest possible area, which of these points do I want? I want that top point right there. I want the x value that pertains to this. This is the area. This is the area. These are going to be the length and width. So, how do you find this? This is going to be your largest possible area right there. So you're going to hit second, calc, max. And I'm going to say it's between 20, enter, and 30. And it'll give you your it's 25. So now, 25 is your x value. So you have this picture. And this is 25 right here. So how do you find the y value? You're going to plug 25 in here and substitute it, and y would be, what's 50 minus 25? 25. So in other words, your rectangle, to get the largest possible area, it would be 25 by 25. And that dimension will give you a perimeter of 100. Isn't 25 plus 25 plus 25 plus 25, isn't that 100? And now if you multiply 25 by 25, you're going to get the largest possible dimension of the area. Does that make sense? Does it? Yes? No? Okay, I want you to try 30. One of these is going to be on your test tomorrow. So you have a rectangle, and it has an area of 240 inches squared. One side, it's a rectangle. So rectangle means that we're assuming that the sides are different. So can you tell me what to write? The area of this is 240. What do you write? Area is 240. Help me out. Someone, come on. 240 equals x times y. I know you know this. Okay, now I want you to express the perimeter of this as a function of x. So how do you write the perimeter of this rectangle? What's the formula for perimeter? 2x plus 2y. So now what do? How do I express the area, the perimeter of as a function of x? What should I do? solve for y. So I want to get y by itself here. So y is equal to 240 over x. And now I'm going to plug this in here for y. So perimeter is equal to 2x plus 2 times 240 over x. So your perimeter is a function of the area. So now what you want to do is what? They want you to take, this is the answer for A. That would be your answer for A. Now, could you rewrite it differently? Yeah, you could write 2x plus 480 over x, but I don't care about that. Leave your answer that way. But I want to know what would be the dimensions of this rectangle with the area of 240 in the smallest possible perimeter. So when you graph this one, what do you think it's going to look like? If this one wanted the largest possible area, what do you think this is going to look like? It says the smallest possible perimeter. Smallest, what's it going to be? What am I going to look for? A minimum value. So I want you to type that equation in your calculator. And for this one, you could use this, I think the same window will be okay. You may want to change the window. So I'm going to type in 2x plus 2 parentheses 240 divided by x. And hit graph. Now, if you leave your window the way it is, that's the picture you get. And you can do that. You can find the lowest number. But I'm going to change my window. I'm going to do negative 100. I want to show you 100. Go by tens, negative 100, and 100. Now, those are my favorites. Watch this. This is the picture you will get. So I went by, my screen is 100 by 100. Negative 100, positive 100, positive 100, negative 100, and I went by tens. Each of these, my scale is 10. So, see this picture see this little piece right here? This is in quadrant 3. And all of these x values are what? Positive or negative? Do we care about any of these answers? No. We want the smallest possible perimeter. I want that number right there. Now remember, mine went by tens. So I want that x value. These are all the possible dimensions, but I want the smallest possible perimeter. So what do? Hit second, calc, min, and it looks like it's between 0, enter, and 30. And there it is, 15.49. And that's the exact answer, 15.49. So when I drew my picture, you get, I want that. These you ignore. So I want this number, and it's 15.49. So now, how do I find my other value? I'm looking for y. So I'm going to take 240 divided by 15.49, and you're going to get another 15.49. So what would be your dimensions? It'd be 15.49 by 15.49. That would give you the smallest possible perimeter, and the area being 240. Okay, one more. You have a box, and it has a square base. See if I can draw a box with a square base. Here's a box. It has a square base, meaning each of these sides we're going to call x. We don't know what the other dimension is, so we're going to call it y. Call that y. So, it has a volume of 867. So how would you write that out? Volume is equal to what times what times what? Length times width times height. So if the volume is x times y. And the volume's 867, we have 867 is equal to x squared y. We want to express the surface area of this box as a function of volume. So what are you going to do? How would you do surface area? Surface area is equal to what? You add up all the sides. So think of this box. You have two of these. What is the dimension of what I just colored here? X times x is x squared. So you have 2x squareds, plus you have 4 x areas that are x times y. So these, like these sides right here, you have 4 sides that are x times y. That's surface area, added up all the sides. So what do I do now? I want to express the surface area of this box as a function of the length of the side of the base. And it says include the top. We did a problem in chapter 2 that it had no top, so I think that's why this says include the top of the box. So what are you going to do? Anyone have an idea what to do? Just like the other problems. You're going to solve this equation for y. So y is equal to, if you solve this for y, what do you get? 867 divided by x squared. And then you're going to plug this in here. So you get your surface area is 2x squared plus 4 times x times 867 over x squared. Oops, ran out of room. That's x squared. I'm going to write it up here. Surface area is 2x squared plus 4x times 867 over x squared. What are you going to do now? Anyone? Type it in your calculator. Type that in your calculator. You may want to cancel one of those x's out. If you cancel, you can cancel an x with an x, so you could, if you wanted to, it's less typing. So one x here cancels with one x here, and you could actually multiply 4 times 867. You don't have to, but you could do 4 times 867 over x. Okay, if you want to type it that way. So what do you get? And I want you to change your window. Make sure it fits. See the picture? We want the smallest possible surface area. So you're going to see, you want to find that u. So you have 2x squared plus, and then parenthesis 4 times 867. And then divide that by x. And for this one, you should see, what do you see? For 31, I want you to change your window to the x value to 25. So 0 to 25. You can go by tens, and then 0 to 1,000. You can go by tens, and that's what you get. Here's your picture. You want the smallest possible dimension, so you want that. So you hit second, calc, min, and it's between 0, enter, and 20. And you should get 9.54. 9.54, and then how do you find the other dimension? You plug that in. I would plug it right here. You're going to do 867 divided by 9.54 squared. And, you get the same thing, you get 9.54 for both. Questions? Anybody? Okay, backside. How much time do we have? 1 minute. Okay, for homework, I want you to do these 4 graphs. What is the greatest integer? These are on your test, so you gotta know how to do these. The greatest integer, remember you round down. These are gonna look like steps. So I want you to make a T-chart, and I want you to plug in 1, 2, 3. So if you did 1.1, 1.9, 2.1, 2.9, 3.1, 3.9, you end up getting, when you take the greatest, if you plug these numbers in, you get 1, 1, 1, and then for 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. When you graph this, you go over 1, up 1, you keep going, but at the end, you're gonna have an open circle. So you have, it's a step. So I want you to make sure you can do these 4 problems. I will have them on YouTube. I need you guys to turn your calculator, or give me your calculators. Thank you. You guys remember where I put your phone? You can go. Hannah, remember yours. I like your keys.
It's my phone, actually. Thank you, though.